Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha. Neither, from our discussions, neither the subject is Ananda, nor object is Ananda. If subject is Ananda, as a subject is, I should be happy, because subject is always there in all experiences. The subject is not subject to dukkha. Subject means the one who relates to the object. As a pramata, you are a knower, you are an experiencer. This is the subject. So this subject, whom you refer as I, cannot be said as Ananda, because the subject is also Shoka, Dukkha. No object is Ananda, we have already seen. And we have also seen the subject is not opposed to Ananda. Object is not opposed to Ananda. Both subject and object are present when you are happy. When you listen to music, music is the object and you are the subject, and you are happy. Therefore, subject is not opposed to Ananda, object is not opposed to Ananda. This thinking, wrong thinking it is. The world is dukkham. That is a Buddhistic view. The world is dukkham. That's not true. The world is not dukkham. Same world you become happy also with. And therefore, so then Ananda, if there is something, understand this, if there is something which transcends the subject and therefore the object, and the subject-object do not transcend that reality, that is Ananda. Understand now? If there is a vastu, a thing that exists, which transcends both subject and object, and the subject-object do not transcend that forever, and that is Ananda. And therefore, so is there in the Shruti a Vakya. It says, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. Vijnanam means, so this Anandam Vijnanam. So it's not Vijnanam that is subject to dukkha. here, that Vijnanam, the word, like Jnanam, Vijnanam Satyam, Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, in this Jnanam, the word is translated as Jnaptihi, is consciousness. Datvartaha, the meaning of the root Jna. And therefore, so this, if it is the root meaning, bhava sadhana, the root meaning, and then the meaning will be that which obtains in every piece of knowledge, in the knower, in the object of knowledge, that which is there, and that is jnaptihi, invariable. Now, Swami is sitting here. This is an important thing. And Swami is sitting here. How do you know? Suppose one is blind and one is deaf also. Then how you are going to know Swami is sitting here? If one is at least hearing, then you hear, even though one is blind, but one hears. And therefore one can say Swami's voice it is, and Swami's voice means there is a frog always inside. And so this you can recognize this is Swami's voice. One can recognize. And therefore, so there is a way of means for knowing the existence of the Swami here. And that means even Swami cannot reveal himself to you. Correct? That means what? You need to reveal the Swami to yourself. In the sense, you have to either see the Swami, you have to hear the Swami, or you have to infer the existence of the Swami. There are means of knowing, and therefore each means is called pramanam. Prama means knowledge. Ma means knowledge. Ma has got different meaning. Ma is knowledge. And this Ma is also mother. Ma also is knowledge. Ma as an avyaya also is negative particularities. Ma means me also. Asato ma sadgamaya. Please lead me from asat to sat. So, Ma has got this meaning of knowledge. And too many meanings are there, therefore you add pra to mean exactly knowledge. Prama. And so this prama, karanam, pramanam, that which is instrumental in giving rise to knowledge is called a pramanam. So you have some pramanam in your hands. A few pramanas are there, like direct perception, hearing, seeing, even smelling. All these various 5 means of knowledge, five senses, and which account for one means of knowledge called pratyaksham, direct perception. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. 5 senses. All constitute one, we count as one, pratyaksham. There is no sanctity about it. All put together because these are direct. Therefore, one category, and which is the means of knowledge, pratyaksham, direct perception. Then we have inference. Based upon perceptual data, you make inferences. So the perception is mula pramanam. Even Big Bang theory has got mula pramanam, and which is perception through telescope. You see, it's amazing how the eyes are very important. The whole Big Bang theory depends upon your eyesight. Even a fellow who is at this end of a telescope, even if it is that huge telescope, he can look at it and say, I don't see anything, because he doesn't have big long sight. And therefore you will say, I don't see anything. I don't see anything means my eyes, it's not that nothing is there. My eyes, therefore these eyes become a very, very big thing. Even all these modern theories are based upon simple visual data. Pradhana. And so inference and all that is only based upon perceptual data. One step inference, more than one step inference. Through these means of knowledge, the existence of a thing becomes evident to you. Swami sitting here is evident to you. Therefore, when you say is means an object is. And you can say so because it is evident to you. The existence is evident to you, the object is evident to you that it is, because you have a means of knowledge. And even absence is evident to you. That in my hand there is no flower, there is no book, is evident to you. So not only presence is evident to you, absence is, presence is, so evident to you. Therefore, everything has to become evident for you to say is. Present or absent, is. Understand? That also is a means of knowledge, even absence. So if this is the reality of this, whatever you come to say this is an object, it exists, it becomes evident to you through a means of knowing. Okay? Therefore, even black hole, existence of black hole is evident to you through a certain type of inference. It's a presumption. More than one step inference. There may be 1,000 steps. So it becomes evident. Pramana siddham. Now you can say now, siddham means it is established, it becomes evident. Pramanena, by a pramana. A given thing exists or doesn't exist by a pramana. Now, therefore I can now ask you a question. The whole world that you say is, sun is, moon is, the galaxy is, it all becomes evident to you by pramana. And we either direct knowledge, seeing me is a direct knowledge, inference is indirect knowledge. Then by a belief, it is held. It is held by a person that this also exists, like heaven. That is also. And for that you attribute, give a validity, pramanatvam, the status of a pramana to a book. The holy book tells. So that becomes the pramana. There is no other pramana available. That is also accepted as a pramana. It tells various things. Verifiable, non-verifiable. Verifiable is within the range of our means of knowledge, perception, inference and so on. Non-verifiable, like heaven, punya, papa, you will be reborn. All these are non-verifiable. That is the topic of the Veda. And other holy books in the world. Every religion has got its own holy book. They believe it's a holy book. Some of them tell kill, loot. If he is a non-believer, kill and loot. And they are validated by the book, the holy book. First you say it's holy, afterwards everything that is said is. And therefore there are arguments for all this. What can be taken as holy, what should be believed, what cannot be believed. Anything that goes against certain realities cannot be considered as valid. Anything above reason said by the holy book, you have no way of rejecting it, proving it is wrong. Therefore, the holy book says that you will go to heaven, you can accept. You can accept that. Okay, I believe. But if some holy book says God is sitting there, then I will ask for the definition of God. God may be sitting there. Your God may be sitting there. What is the definition of God? And does he have a body? No, he has no body. Then is he formless then? He is formless. Then how can he sit there? A formless God? Why should he have a place to sit, correct? A formless God cannot have location. Unless it's a spirit, ghost or something. That also need not have a particular location, it can be anywhere. Then you can't say it is limitless, formless. And therefore what I say, even a belief, my belief you cannot say, is irrational. So what is against reason is not subject to belief. It doesn't come into the picture of belief at all. It doesn't come to that area of belief. Verifiable belief. Non-verifiable belief. A thing that is foolish, against reason, against the realities, and that means that is not acceptable. Pramana kopa. We call it as pramana kopa. Shankara, in one place, even there are 100 shrutis talking, means Veda. 100 places, the Veda says that fire is cold to touch. Veda is wrong. It tells like that. Either you can dismiss the Veda as wrong, or if you have Shraddha, you can look into it, what does it say? It cannot say anything wrong. If it is wrong, it is wrong. but it won't say anything wrong. Try to find out the meaning. The meaning may be entirely different. That is what we say, Mimamsa. But he makes the statement. And therefore, so the belief also is a kind of an indirect, they say indirect knowledge. It is because of your Shraddha, because of your belief. Therefore, heaven is as an object of belief. Punya is as an object of belief. Papa is not as an object of belief, not wild belief. There can be supportive logic. The supportive logic is different from reasoning. The basis of the belief is only the Vedic statement. And that can be supported. And therefore, now, anything becomes evident to you. Now my question is, do you have your body? Do you have a body for yourself? You have to say what? Yes. Does it become evident? Yes. How does it become evident? Because I objectify my body. Not one way. I objectify my body. All right, body is. Then, do you have eyes, eyesight? Yes. How do you know? I know. It's evident to me that the eyesight is by seeing, by using. I know the eyesight is. Those who are wearing glasses, they know better. When you go to an ophthalmologist and he gives you an empty frame and then puts these glasses and asks you a question, how do you see now? He has to ask you. He has to ask you. You have to say, because it's evident to you, not to that fellow, correct? It is evident to you only, not to him. Not for the ophthalmologist. So through you it becomes evident to him, indirectly. He would never know whether I have said the right thing or not. That is why you come back always with a feeling that you didn't get the right one. Because it's confusing. He asks you, do you see now? Yes. You look at this. Yes. How is this now? I think it is better. Now, I think the previous is better. Now, this is better. Better than what? The immediate previous or the previous? Doubt? I have got a doubt. So it's better than what? You can ask him, put again. Some confusion, you spend 20 minutes. Then afterwards you settle for a pair of glasses because you can see the buses and cars on the road. So this is all. So you said, come home always with a doubt. I think it can be better. the glasses can be better. It's okay. Anyway, whole life is settling for something less, okay? What is human life? Settling for something less. Less than what is ideal. That's human life. So the Indian attitude is, even this also may have some karma. So like this you have to swallow. That the eyesight is evident to you. That you have a thought in your mind, evident to you. The emotion, evident to you. That you have knowledge, evident to you. You know that you know. And you do not know, evident to you. You ask, I don't know, evident to you. Your mistaken notion also is evident to you. Memories are evident to you. Forgetting also is evident to you. You don't have anything anymore. This is all covered. The whole Jagat evident to you is covered. This is called object. Evident to you, evident to you. There is a you there for whom everything is evident. The whole Jagat is evident to one person, that is you. You can't say, why me? Because there is no other, you are the only one. Everything else is object. Everything is evident to you. Now I am asking, then if everything is evident to you, do you exist or not? Swami is evident to you. That you, what do you mean by the word you? I, aham. Does it exist or not? You use the word I, use the word self. The self, what becomes evident is not self. Vishaya. And to whom it becomes evident is the self. Whether the self exists or not, that's my question. Does it exist or not? You can't say it doesn't exist. Unless it exists, things don't become evident. It exists. If it exists, by what means you say the self exists? You understand what I say? By what means of knowledge you say self exists? We have already, mind exists, senses exist, all these are all our means of knowledge. By what means of knowledge you say, I exist, self exists? Swamiji, if I need a means of knowledge to establish the self, so the self becomes an object. Then there is another means of knowledge held by another subject. Come on. Another subject. And then the another subject exists or not. So that subject exists. How do you know? Because another means of knowledge. So another means of another subject. Then it goes to eternal, infinite regression. You can't see a bus. You can't say anything is. Why? Still the self is coming. Okay? Self is coming through various means of knowledge. Self has to come. The greatness in this teaching is, the validity of this teaching is, the working of this teaching is, this bread and butter for Vedantin is this one. It is self-evident. The self is self-evident. It has got to be the self-evident thing. And everything becomes evident. Swami is because there is self-evident. It is not open to any means of knowledge, including Veda. We don't need Veda to say, I am. I exist. Who I am is the problem. So that I am is not a problem. Because I exist, I have got a buddhi, I can conclude. I can think and conclude. Or I don't think and conclude. Vichara siddham, avichara siddham, durvichara siddham. So vichar karke, you do vichara and then come to a wrong conclusion. But about what? About the self. That is all thinking. Without inquiry also we conclude. Some notion, because I exist, I have to take myself to be somebody. What I am, I have to take. Either wrongly, rightly, because then only I can get up. And therefore, the self is the only thing in this world which is self-evident. Everything else becomes evident to the self. All bodies, all minds, all differences, all of them become evident to the self through various means of knowing. This is one understanding. Then one more thing. In every evidence, what is invariable? Suppose you say, this is flower, evident. In this evidence, what is there? You say, flower is. How can you say flower is? Because flower knowledge is. Flower consciousness is. Correct now? Flower consciousness is. Somebody asked me a question, what is consciousness? When you ask me a question, and then, so how you ask a question? The table doesn't ask me a question. It doesn't. We keep all the questions on the table. The chair doesn't ask me a question. Otherwise, I have to have a deal with the chair. I'm going to sit there on you for an hour. Then this chair says, how much you will give me? Yeah? There is no question. That's why in the world, there's an arrangement. In the world, you find certain your plates, spoons, they don't question, and they are not hungry, and therefore with a spoon you take the soup, and then by the time you take it to your mouth, and this spoon spoon is hungry and therefore it's gone. That is why it is kept in sentient, inert, okay? So that there must be insentient things. Otherwise this will become the social service people. In India, you know, they receive money. Social service people. They call themselves social service people. Then they serve themselves. First, service begins at home. Okay? Charity begins at charity begins at home. Yes, correct. Serve yourself first, afterwards other service. Thank God, lot of monies missionaries receive. All of monies, millions and millions. So recently there was an article, how much money they have received. India, all the monies are utilized, all the rural India, we would be all converted. And because of this, the service people serve themselves, you know. Therefore, entire money doesn't go, we are saved by their corruption. Some Hindus bach gaya. Because of their swallowing the money. It's very famous. Everybody has got an organization. It's very profitable for them. The World Vision people, all these people, money making. In tsunami, they received $1 billion tsunami. And then, what did they do? Nothing. We were working in the same area. Nothing. Anyway, the knowledge of given, this is in every piece of ease, when you say anything that becomes evident, is so through knowledge only. Evidence is knowledge. Correct? Evidence is knowledge. Evidence through pramana. And what is evident is prama. Knowledge of the object. 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 And we can convert it into consciousness of the object. Why? Because knowledge we are using as a particular discrete knowledge, as object knowledge. Enough. But to make it more clear, we use the word consciousness. Consciousness doesn't require any definition. It doesn't require any definition. Why? Because it is self-evident. Consciousness is the invariable in all forms of knowledge. In all forms of knowledge, in all objects, in all experiences, in emotions, in all of them, what is common, invariable, doesn't vary at all, is what? Is consciousness. It doesn't vary. It is the same. Gata samvit. Samvit, na? Samvit means consciousness. Gata samvit. Pata samvit. Let me say first. Pot is. This cloth is, this is a typical example, gata and pata, rhyming. Pot is, this piece of cloth is, mata, the place of a sadhu, a monastery is, mata is, gatapata, mata. Sun is, moon is. Any object, micro, macro object is, electron is. That is, you see, is. Common. Is common. Then what else is common? Gata, pata, mata. Let us take three objects. Gata, pata, mata. Table, flower, book. Table, book, flower. Here is a table, and there is a book, and there is flower. Table is, book is, flower is. What is common? Is. Now to say is, how, what is involved here? How do you say it is? Table is evident. It becomes evident. Through what? A means of knowing. That means what? There is knowledge. Through knowledge. And therefore we can say, when you say table is, then you can add table, consciousness is. You are safe. Table, consciousness is. Book consciousness is. The flower consciousness is. Chair consciousness is. Swami, the person consciousness is. Your own body, which is the object of consciousness, not body consciousness. Body, that also body consciousness is, you can say. This body is. The consciousness. So body consciousness is. The eyesight consciousness is. Emotion consciousness is. Knowledge consciousness is. Hunger consciousness is. Memory consciousness is. And then forgetting what is forgotten. And that forgotten object consciousness is. My God. Then what else is? Ignorance consciousness is. I don't know. That I don't know also you know. Ignorance consciousness is. What are the things invariable in this? Consciousness is invariable, correct? Consciousness is. Now all these are objects. All are objects. So minus the objects, what is left out? Consciousness is. Add something now. So add what? Ignorance. Ignorance, consciousness is. Add to consciousness. Ignorance, consciousness is. Memory, consciousness is. And forgotten object, consciousness is. Knowledge, consciousness is. Given knowledge. This object, consciousness is. I know. There is an object. That object, consciousness is. Emotion, consciousness is. Hunger consciousness is. Eyesight consciousness is. Body consciousness is. Jagat consciousness is. Jagat means anything that you objectify. Consciousness is. Time consciousness is. Space consciousness is. Consciousness is. Now remove everything. One by one. So from the star consciousness is minus a star. Then space consciousness is minus space. Time consciousness, naturally, both go. Time consciousness is gone. And body consciousness, everything is gone. What is gone? The object it can be away from your mind. From your mind. You can remove all of them. Add all of them. So, if you add consciousness is plus. If you remove consciousness is. Does this consciousness is, does it grow? Or it remains the same, no addition? Does it grow? Because of addition it always grows. Aham avam mayam. Everybody is born aham. There is only one fellow. He gets married, aham avam. See, in Sanskrit that's why three are there. Aham first, avam second, and vayam. Vayam means plural. Dual is not plural for us. 1 plus 1 is only dual. That is aham avam. Then plural. Plural means you can go any number, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is plural. Aham avam vayam. Therefore, things grow. You started as 1, now you become 3, 4, 4. So every addition it makes the object different. It is added. Therefore, consciousness is. What is its size? What is the size of consciousness? Consciousness is self-evident. Because in every evidence, what is there is consciousness. In every evidence, what is there is consciousness. This consciousness, which is, it's not that is not different from consciousness, and consciousness is not different from what is, and what is consciousness, and what would be the size of this consciousness. Height. A height is object of consciousness. Width, that is object of consciousness. Then what is the size of consciousness? If consciousness has a size, you have to be another consciousness to look at the size. The consciousness is as neither height nor width or anything that you can objectify. Limitless. So, it is spatially limitless. Even time-wise, it is limitless. There is no absence of consciousness. There is no advent of consciousness. Every advent implies absence. Pragabhava. Every advent means arrival. So every arrival implies its absence before. And therefore you can arrive at the arrival. Only you are there before. Correct? You can arrive at the arrival of anything. If you are there, seeing the absence of that person who was not there before, and therefore, so you can say it arrived at, you can punch your time. So this is the time I arrived at the gate. You know, the factory workers, they generally punch the time of arrival. So previously absent, Swami enters, so means till then Swami was not here. Swami has come. And Swami departs. And both are marked by you. If you had come earlier than the Swami, and if you go later than the Swami, before I go, you go, you won't know when did I go. And you come after my arrival, you won't know when did I come. Correct? You understand what I say? Every advent implies the presence of someone, the observer, who was present before the advent to mark the advent. Every departure also implies the presence of the one who saw the departure. Therefore, if consciousness came at a given time, udeti, if it came at a given time, then you must find out, you must be knowing the absence of consciousness hitherto to mark the advent of consciousness. That means what? You are talking about a consciousness which was there before the advent of this consciousness, and that is what we say, a thought. It is not kshanikam, vijnanam, the word kshanikam there, a thought is called vijnanam. This is Buddhist conclusion. The kshanikam vijnanam. If it is kshanikam, you must be there to arrive at the flicker of consciousness. And therefore, consciousness na udeti, nastam yeti, vriddhim na yati. And a limitless, it is spatially limitless, object-wise limitless it is. And therefore, any object you add, it is again same limitless alone. Subject knower, consciousness plus knower. Knower is consciousness. Consciousness is not knower. You add knower, limitless consciousness, playing the role of a knower. Object also add. Subject is there, object is there. So that also is not away from the limitless consciousness. Therefore, he is consciousness, he is satyam, sat. Consciousness is chit. And it is, you add the whole jagat, it is still limitless. Remove the jagat, it is still limitless. Purnamadav Purnamidam. Therefore, consciousness, chit, is sat, limitless, Ananda. Now you understand what it is? The limitlessness is Ananda. Satchit, Ananda. Little familiar, correct? The word is familiar. That is the problem in Vedanta. Words become familiar before we know. You can't say, I know them. I know these words I've heard. It's not that simple. So, this self-evident vijnanam, consciousness, is satyam. That word satyam I have to deal with a little more. Satyam. And it is anantam, limitless, otherwise called anandam. Both are the same. The limitlessness, the wholeness is what the real meaning of the word Ananda. It is never lost at any time. Whether if you are happy, you are not estranged from this limitlessness for the time being. That is called experiential happiness. You are not totally estranged. That is experience. In knowledge, you are never estranged. If you don't know, then in spite of ignorance, experientially it cannot be denied. Because if the self, that's how the mind works. The I thought, ahankara, the ego, which is a subject, and the subject is for the time being, because the subject is suspendable. And the subject also need not focus, while it focuses its attention to one object, and every other object is excluded, including its judgment about itself. It's all excluded. And therefore, that is a wonderful blessing that you have got, because free. You are free. The ego is suspendable, means free, my God. Your free will can be suspended, it is the freedom. That is the ultimate freedom. Free will means you are free to do, not to do. That free will itself I can suspend. When you see me, you suspend the free will. In every piece of knowledge, free will is suspended. It doesn't have a role to play. And therefore, so when you focus your attention towards an object, and that object is able to please the self, there are many ways. So, when the reason is challenged and then resolved, there is a Vidyanandam. There's a Vidyanandam. By Vidya, by discovery, even understanding a joke is Vidya, is Ananda. That understanding just clears because the subject has understood itself. There's a clearance. The self-forgetting takes place. And similarly, Vishayanandam, Vidyanandam, Yoganandam, by manipulation also. You can get some Ananda. By pranayama, etc., some Ananda. In all Ananda, it's all samsarika Ananda. And all this Ananda is subject to increase and decrease. And therefore, what is limitlessness? That is not in terms of vritti, means a mental condition. But the same limitlessness is because it cannot be hidden. And therefore, due to ignorance, I make judgments about myself, others and all that. And these judgments are not focused. Again, I am limitless. Without knowing, I am limitless. That limitlessness is called experiential happiness. And therefore, so if by cognitive, the gain, by a cognitive gain, means my not being any more ignorant of the fact of Atma being being limitless in terms of existence, in terms of any object. I am limitless. In this is what is to be understood. Then there is no question. Then and all that word also is not correct. There is no question of losing myself any time, because that's me. It's not a matter of memory. I am a self-evident consciousness which is limitless. There is no necessity, Swamiji, I forget me. It's not a matter of memory. It's a matter, this is me all the time. I forget when you say that I is limitless, okay? Forget is your personal property. And that I is limitless. And therefore, then that I forget, that forget itself is object of consciousness. And consciousness is limitless. And therefore, so they want to show the limitlessness as the real meaning of Anandam. Because we have experience of Anandam. Therefore, the word Ananda becomes Lakshana, which helps you appreciate the limitlessness. How? In Mimamsa, we are going to look into that portion in the Taittiriya Upanisad from now on. So we will do that. It's already time I have to look, so we'll see. Tomorrow we'll do meditations. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.